in between all of these little golden books series is slipped in a picture of Jesus Christ and his disciples. So when those same children, 10, 15, 20 years, grow up, they have enshrined within the contours, the unfathomable dark recesses of their mind, a concept of God as being European, Christ as being European, the angels as being European, and heaven as a European domain. So Dr. Henrik Clarke's argument, the fundamental key argument, the old New York scholar, by the way, he's now joining the ancestors, is saying that the Christ that we have of today is the subject and the outcome of the conquerors. So the conquerors decide, because they are the ones who have publishing companies, to brainwash en masse African people of African origin, whether they be from the West Indies or the Brazil or the Latin America or the Cuba. They have been rendered vulnerable. It's a widespread acceptance of Jesus Christ as white, European white. So now that means, so Dr. Francis Cress Welsing is saying, to accept the European Christ, one has got to do this at a price, and the price to be paid is there to abandon, abrogate, and cancel all references to yourself, your own race, so your own historical past. So we have no history, we have no past. And those are the conditions psychologically on which Africans, people of African origin, must rebel, or they must rise up, in the words of Marcus Garvey, and correct a mass multitude of misconceptions, because Jesus Christ, for a start, is not white. He never ever was European. The idea of Christ, not a man in the first place, as an image, the original image, or the grand title of the Egyptian pharaohs from the outset. If we were going to link it to Constantine the Great and say, well, the Council of Nicaea, his own biographer, a guy called Eusebius of Constantinople, was instructed by his boss, and so was Athanasius, his own secretary of Constantine the Great. They were both instructed to make sure that the frames of reference to any Christ at all is now going to be European. European in terms of phenotypical features and profile, because that is going to be the idea of white supremacy. That will never ever change. That is the rule of a regime which is intended to go on to be perpetuated forever and ever. But the tribe of Judah is very much here. I've already explained to you that Jesus Christ is African, and he hails from the tribe of Judah. Jesus Christ is African. In fact, on the 8th day was this Luke 2 verse 22, where he was circumcised. On the 8th day he was brought into the temple by his parents. No, that circumcision is a strictly African tradition, is one of the oldest African tradition on planet Earth. No other culture embraces circumcision as clearly and as strongly and as faithfully as Africans. And what is the purpose of circumcision? The purpose, well, it's not just hygiene for cleanliness. The purpose of circumcision is to perpetuate the bloodline, so that the bloodline and the gene pool remain strong, dependable, dependable and reliable over hundreds of years, even centuries later on, because it is said in Genesis 17, the very last verse, those who fail not to honor the circumcised, the act of circumcision, it's male we're talking about, not female. Male circumcision will be cut off forever. Now this is something, I tell you something. I am angry with St. Paul. And in Galatians 5 verse 2, how can he possibly say those words? Galatians 5 verse 2, circumcision profiteth nothing to a Christian, to the circumcision. Well, he has been misleading. He has not read what Genesis 17, 8 and 9, when God made a pact. God made a covenant with one man, a man called Abraham. You'd say, well, that is the beginning of where the black Christ, in African Hebrew Israelite terms, this is where the Abba, father, Ra, is this ancient Egyptian idea of God, the sun God, or they explain God as the creator of the sun and the sustainer of the harvest. So Ra is a black man's term. And Ham, Abraham, Ham is the father of the black. Goodness gracious. We cannot even go into to deconstruct, because we are talking about Old Testament African people arising from out of the pages of the Old Testament. And if Jesus Christ went, his parents took him to be circumcised in the temple. But Simeon said, Lord, lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, for mine eyes have seen thy salvation. Now, Jesus Christ was a white man. So why would a white man be circumcising his child? That is not his culture. So the Europeans do not understand the African culture. They have distorted us. They have misrepresented it.